forecast for the Pittsburgh area calls for intermittent showers throughout the day. This evening, temperatures in the upper 60s, along with clearing skies, will provide ideal weather conditions for the 1974 All-Star Game at Three Rivers Stadium.
Baseball fans eagerly await the performances of their personal choices, like Steve Garvey, a write-in candidate at first base. However, Carlton Fisk won't be able to keep his date as the American League starting catcher. Dick Williams, newly appointed manager of the Angels, emerges from a brief absence to handle the American League, bringing back memories of John McGraw's return for the first Dream game.
We have a sellout, a big crowd, a fine day, and I hope the best team wins. Thank you.
One of the most familiar of all Midsummer Magic moments is Babe Ruth swatting the first All-Star Game home run as he led the American League to a 4-2 victory over manager McGraw's National Leaguers. In 1934, the Giants' Carl Hubbell provided the magic with his 5 consecutive strikeouts of Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin. Game-winning home runs are the most memorable and dramatic moments in baseball, and the All-Star Classics have certainly had their share. In 1941, Ted Williams came up to bat with 2 on, 2 out, and the American League trailing 5-4. This last-ditch blast made the final score 7-5, and a youthful Ted Williams circled the bases in glee. In 1950, Red Schoendienst homered in the 14th inning to give the National League a 4-3 victory. In 1955, Stan Musial's leadoff round tripper in the bottom of the 12th gave the National League a sudden death win. In 1964, Johnny Callison belted a 9th inning home run for yet another game-ending National League triumph. Of course, home run power doesn't hold the copyright on all-star excitement. In 1970, the aggressive base running of Pete Rose decided one more overtime contest in favor of the National League. For many stars, however, all-star competition has been anything but thrilling or dramatic. And ironically, some of baseball's greatest names have come up empty in all-star play. Henry Aaron hit his record-shattering 715th career home run during the 1974 season. Baseball's all-time home run king has appeared in 21 classics, yet his showing is somewhat surprising with only 2 all-star home runs. Nonetheless, Hammer and Hike is in fantastic company. Iron Man Lou Gehrig, the pride of the Yankees, hit a mere .222 in his 6 all-star appearances. Catching greats Roy Campanella and Yogi Berra batted just 100 and 185 respectively at All-Star time. Yogi has a possible explanation.
Well, I think maybe we're trying too hard. You know, we didn't want the National League to beat us, and it's a great honor to be selected in an All-Star game. You're not trying to be out there to make a fool out of yourself, and maybe that's it. You know, you just press a little more.
Remember, both Berra and Campanella were three-time league MVPs. Pete Rose's moment of glory in 1970 is offset by a batting average that's currently below 100.
You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, and there's certain guys that seem like always have good all-star games. There's other guys who never seem to have good all-star games. The guys I got hits off in the all-star game are probably guys that's been in the National League or now in the American League, and I've seen them before. It's the same thing in a World Series or a playoff.
The reverse can also be true from the pitcher's point of view. Some of baseball's greatest pitchers have been victimized time and again in the All-Star Classic. A five-time starter, Philadelphia's Robin Roberts, was tagged for 10 earned runs and 14 innings of work. Hall of Famer Warren Spahn was also stung for 10 runs in 14 innings. Baseball's newest Hall of Fame inductees, Yankee greats Whitey Ford and Mickey Mantle, weren't the least bit happy about their all-star appearances. Slugger Mickey Mantle hit just .222 in 14 games. Whitey Ford, Mr. Clutch in World Series competition, had an inflated earned run average of, believe it or not, 11.0. Who was the outstanding DiMaggio brother? Unquestionably, it was Joe. But the All-Star Manual won't prove it. Joltin' Joe hit just .230 in 10 games. Dom DiMaggio batted a super .353 in 5 games, while the unheralded Vince DiMaggio was letter perfect. He went 3 for 3 with a home run and a triple. Al Kaline, seen here connecting for career hit number 3,000, offered proof that the big stars could shine at dream game time too. Kaline's all-star statistics display an impressive .343 batting average in 16 appearances. Kaline always looked forward to the Midsummer Classic with great anticipation.
Playing against such great players as Musial and Mays, Clemente, facing National League pitchers that you hear about and you read about their outstanding years, and then all of a sudden you have a chance to face them. I think that's what I really remember most about it, the real challenge of facing these pitchers that you've never seen other than in spring training or you read about, and really playing with the greatest players in the game today.
A long list of brilliant all-star performers include outfielder Leon Wagner with a hefty .454 average. Joe Medwick clicked for a .388 mark in 10 games. Medwick also sparkled in the field with this gem in the 1938 contest. Roberto Clemente's all-star record typified his regular season contributions in Pittsburgh. Roberto carried a solid .333 batting mark. Infielder Billy Herman hit a sensational .448 in 10 all-star showings. Boston's Joe Cronin chipped in with a .304 average. Jackie Robinson hit .333 in 6 games and, as always, excited all-star crowds with his daring base running. Enos Country Slaughter of the St. Louis Cards had a strong .353 batting average, drove the American Leaguers to distraction with his running game, and made a spectacular catch to rob Harvey Keene of extra bases in the 1953 Classic. Third baseman Ken Boyer had 9 all-star appearances and hit .348, including this home run in 1960 at Yankee Stadium. Minnie Minoso of the White Sox hit an even .300 in all-star play. Minoso's Chicago teammate, Nellie Fox, rose to the all-star occasion hitting .382. For a pitcher, an all-star outing could resemble a bad dream, seeing that opposition lineup card stacked against him. Even so, there have been some remarkable performers over and above Carl Hubbell's amazing strikeout show. Fireballing Bob Feller's record includes an ERA of less than 1, along with 9 strikeouts in 11 2/3 innings. Pittsburgh's Bob Friend received credit for 2 National League victories, and his earned run average was just a fraction over 1. Ewell the Whip Blackwell racked up 12 strikeouts in 13 2/3 innings of all-star work. Johnny Double No-Hit Vandermeer was outstanding. In 8 2/3 innings, he struck out 11 and surrendered no runs. Some of baseball's current mound aces have impressive credentials, too. Tom Seaver of the New York Mets is unscored on in 4 All-Star outings. Baltimore's Jim Palmer is also letter perfect with 3 shutout appearances. Certainly every man ever selected to an All-Star squad deserves the label All-Star, but let's set the lineup for the all-time All-Stars, the men whose performances were over and above Midsummer Classic standards. At first base, Ted Kluszewski of Cincinnati. Powerful Klu relished All-Star competition.
Well, I think it's the epitome as far as a ball player is concerned. The fans choose them, and you suddenly realize that you're the one they want playing that position, and it probably makes you one of the most popular in the country. And I think, to me, it's probably one of the proudest moments in my life.
Ted Kluszewski hit a mighty .500 in All-Star play. At second base, Hall of Famer Charlie Gehringer was another .500 hitter. Playing shortstop for this dream team, ARCHIVAL, who hit a blistering .412 and belted 2 home runs in the 1941 contest. At third base, Brooks Robinson gets the call. Robinson's magic glove has delighted All-Star crowds in 17 games.
Well, in baseball, you play so many ball games. You play 162 a year, and there's very few of those games that you really get excited about or really feel it inside. And I think the All-Star game plus the World Series or playoffs games, just the whole atmosphere there with the writers and the TV crew, it kind of stimulates me. And you know, I've felt like that before and played bad, but I've also felt like that and played pretty good sometimes. So it's good to get excited about a ball game.
If you really want to get excited about something, how about an outfield of Stan Musial, Ted Williams, and Willie Mays? Stan the Man Musial is tied with Mays for most All-Star appearances, a grand total of 24. Musial also holds the record for All-Star game home runs with 6, and his batting average was a steady .327. Ted Williams appears in the All-Star record book in 5 separate places. The Thumper had 12 RBIs, including a game high of 5 in the 1946 game when he went 4 for 4 with 2 home runs. Williams also played some kind of left field in All-Star contests. Willie Mays holds 6 All-Star records, including most hits, runs, and stolen bases. Mays treated each Midsummer Classic as if it were his own personal showcase. Willie's special brand of hitting, running, and fielding thrilled All-Star fans in 24 dream games. Catching for the all-time All-Star team is Johnny Bench of the Reds. Bench has a .444 batting average in 6 appearances and has already belted 3 home runs. Bench has his own recollections of the All-Star games.
Well, my most vivid recollection, I guess, was lining up in the first time they announced my name in Washington, D.C., and then hitting a home run in my first at-bats as we were the visiting team, and then losing another one. The most recollection, I guess, with Carl Yastrzemski jumping over the fence and pulling what would have been my second home run of the game and robbing me of a home run.
Our pitching staff begins with Juan Marichal. The high-kicking Marichal has allowed just 1 run in 18 innings, an ERA of 0.50. The Dodgers' Don Drysdale possesses 3 All-Star pitching marks, including most innings with 19 1/3, along with an incredible 19 strikeouts. We round out the staff with Jim Bunning, an All-Star performer in both leagues with the Detroit Tigers and the Philadelphia Phillies.
The most vivid recollection I have in the All-Star game is the fact that the first team that I made in 1957, I arrived in St. Louis not knowing who was going to start the ball game or who was going to pitch. It was the first time I had made the club, and I read in the paper that I was going to pitch. Mr. Stengel had decided to pitch me the first 3 innings if I made it that long in the All-Star game, and I was fortunate enough to retire 9 hitters and get the win. And I never had a bigger thrill in baseball than that in my life.
Baseman's in tight on him, looking for a bunt. Ground ball is drilled to second baseman Morgan. Easy play for him, 1 down in the first pitch. As you look around this infield tonight of the National League, you notice it's a very stumpy all-star infield. Say at third, Bo at short, Morgan at second, Garvey at first, are all short players. Bert Campaneris hitting .279 of the world champion Oakland A's with 2 homers, 27 RBIs. He doesn't walk much. He's up there swinging most of the time. And now and then he can hit a long ball. You'll remember the 7th game of the World Series last year, he hit a home run.
Fly ball to right field, hit pretty well, and there she goes!
Andy with an excellent change of pace. The last time we had him on our Game of the Week, a Monday night game, he shut a team out and threw almost 65% straight changeups. But he also has a great fastball, slider, and curve. He's got all the pitches.
He's ahead of Campaneris, 2 strikes. Reggie Jackson's on deck. 1 out, nobody on. The American League batting in the top of the 1st inning. Fastball is high. This telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball. As you look at Jackson, it's intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. And he struck him out on a sweeping curveball. So we have 2 down. Andy Messersmith, born in New Jersey and moved to California, reared in California, an All-American player at the University of California. Here is Reggie Jackson, the player who received over 3 million votes from you fans. There's the trophy, and here's what Reggie thinks about the way you fans responded.
Thank you and NBC for letting me take the time, Tony. It's a great shot in the arm for me, a great morale boost, and a great attitude builder. Just to finish in front of guys like Henry Aaron, in front of guys like Johnny Bench, I owe a heck of a lot to the fans, and I'll try to remember it every time I step on the field, just to give that little extra effort so that I can say thank you in some way.
Well, thank you, Reggie, and congratulations on receiving the most votes of any All-Star player, over 3 million votes. A ball to him. Jackson hitting for the year, .318, 17 homers, 58 runs batted in. He's a showman. In the All-Star game in Detroit a couple of years ago, hit one of the longest home runs in All-Star history. There's a long drive. That one is going way up. It is off the roof. And he got him on a fastball, and the American League goes down 1-2-3. So the score at the end of the 1st half inning, 0-0, the National League coming up. And on the mound, Gaylord Perry, 35 years old. He nearly tied the all-time American League record of 16 wins in a row this year.
Curtin Joe asked Gaylord Perry a while ago if the National League is going to see a different pitcher than when he used to pitch in the National League.
They're not going to see the grease ball and the spit ball that they used to see over there when everyone else was throwing it. I'm going to use the fork ball a great deal, the hard slider, come up and in, and use the fastball, kind of low and away, and mix in a few curveballs.
When he talks about not throwing that grease ball, I was with Tom Ferrick and Charlie Metro over in Cleveland, and they're surprised at how fast he is, that he's now overpowering and he can ride the high fastball. And they're also impressed, the scouts are, at his ability to place that ball where he wants it. And boy, if you can do that, you are well on your way to winning.
All the American League hitters talk about his velocity this year at the age of 35. Pete Rose leads off. Ball 1. You wonder why the Reds were booed, the Red players. And the Met players, the Pirate fans are mad because Yogi Berra didn't pick Richie Zisk, who's 2nd in the National League in batting on the squad, fouled away. And the Reds and the Pirates had a big fight here a week ago Sunday in this ballpark.
And in that fight, Bourbon bit one of the players, Patterson, and they had to give him a tetanus shot, I believe, or a rabies shot.
And he pulled a head of hair off another one.
And blackened an eye.
He had a big day.
I saw Pedro, I don't know if I can say this, I saw Pedro Bourbon strangle a teammate in the dugout one night. Pedro
in Cincinnati?
No, this was Indianapolis,
Oh, that was...
AAA ball.
Pete Rose, batting .282, 2 homers, 25 RBIs. He wants to play the whole game, he told his manager, Berra. That's a fastball in for a strike, 1-2. A little smile of derision there by Pete on that call.
Yes, sir. Joe, you talked about the velocity. You could see it on the first couple of pitches to Rose. He flinched on the 2 he took, and the other one was by him.
Changeup is foul back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That might have been his fork ball.
He's got good speed on that ball. I was surprised to see him throw that hard. And he'll be the first to admit, Perry will, that grease ball will take something away from your fastball.
You know, his great asset, though, is right behind his glove. It's went inside that stomach. He is one of the finest competitors in sports. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Pete Rose. And Rose strikes out. Like a fork ball that dipped to him. Fork ball held with the 2 fingers to form the sign of a fork or a V. The ball comes off and it drops off.
He has it down to such a sophisticated nature that he can make it go in or out by twisting his wrist or his fingers just slightly.
Joe Morgan batting .302. And you take a look at that size and you say he can't be a long ball hitter, but he's banged out 13 homers, knocked in 40 runs. If he gets on, he always affords excitement. 1 out, nobody on, no score, last of the first. Robinson tied at third against him. Pitched a little bit inside. Ball 1 to Joe Morgan. Brooks Robinson even with a bag at third. There's Yogi Berra, along with his coach Rube Walker, Johnny Bench. And they love you here, Yogi.
Where's Sanguine? Manny Sanguine is who they're talking about.
2 balls and a strike. Yogi picked his own catcher, Jerry Grody. That ball was a great pitch. Down and in. 2-2 to Joe Morgan.
High leg kick. Looked like the ball may have sailed a little bit. Joe, you were talking about his additional speed. He appears to me to have a little bit higher leg kick now, and he talks about having more rhythm, more thrust toward home plate. That may give him that added velocity.
He pushes off that leg hard, Tony.
Watch him push off now. And there's the fork ball, and he struck him out. We've already had 4 strikeouts, 2 by Messersmith and 2 by Perry. There's an old cliche in baseball. Good pitching will beat good hitting. And some of the All-Star games are low scoring because of the great pitching. Here's Aaron.
Curtin Joe before the ball game, and we all know by now that Eddie Matthews was let loose as the manager of the Atlanta Braves, but I asked Henry Aaron if he would consider taking the job as the manager of the Atlanta Braves. Let's listen to what Henry has to say.
Well, I haven't been offered a job, not of yet, Tony, and I think it would be out of matter of courtesy that they probably would have offered me a job, but if I was offered a job, I certainly think that I would at this time, simply because there are no black managers in the major leagues.
Well, that's interesting because Aaron's always said being a manager is the worst job in America, but he says he would take the job if he was offered. Blown away. Henry Aaron, all-time leader in the major leagues in homers, total bases, extra base hits, just past Ty Cobb's record of the most games played, and also he's had the most times at bat in the history of Major League Baseball. 2 balls and no strikes. This will probably be his last year as a player.
I got to ask Joe, former catcher, how do you work over Henry Aaron?
Well, Tony, you just hope that you can keep him to a single, because if there's one thing that impresses you is that relaxed stance that he has. In fact, Robin Roberts said it best. He used to sleep between pitches. When that ball gets about 6 inches from him, you'll see a lot of activity. It's hard to pitch to him.
Those wrists don't go to sleep.
No way.
The 2-0 delivery. There's a high drive deep to left. Jeff Burrows backing up. He'll have room. He puts it away. And the National League is out 1-2-3. At the end of the first inning, 0-0. Dick Allen, who showed up here at 18 minutes to 8 with an 8:30 starting time, is in the starting lineup, voted by you fans. I guess Dick Williams glad to have his bat here, the heaviest bat in the majors. Ball 1, what a year he's having. He's hit 4 homers in his last 5 games, 10 RBIs in those 5 games. He leads the majors in homers with 26. And he hits that one down the right field line. It's twisting toward the stands and the bullpen, and it's out of play. We have 2 handheld cameras here tonight. First time in baseball history. Run by a micro relay system, and they'll be everywhere and take you places you've never been before in a major league ballpark. Fouls up and away, 2-2.
Tony, I don't know if it's just me, but watching it from this angle from behind Johnny Bench, it looks like Messersmith at the last minute gives it that little extra, which would almost force you to take a swing at his elbow or his fingernails.
He looks like he pauses back there, and all of a sudden he springs at you and his arm comes for you like he's going to charge you.
You can't time that kind of a pitcher unless you go against him a few times.
This is his first All-Star game appearance, and he gets him on a curve. 3 strikeouts in a row for Andy Messersmith. He was picked to the squad one year, but didn't appear. He's starting tonight. He has a 5-game winning streak. And Tommy John on the disabled list now. He's the hottest pitcher right now on the Los Angeles Dodgers staff. He's always been hard to hit. Speaking of hitting, here's a fellow that got off to a very slow start, wallowing around in the low 200s. And now Mercer's batting .289 with 6 homers, and he's knocked in 59 runs for the Yanks. 1 ball, no strikes to Bobby Mercer, 1 out. And so far, it's been Perry and Messersmith. Jeff Burrows on deck. He'll be up next to the Texas Rangers. They had Mercer reaching. He hits it to Garvey, covering his Messersmith. They team up for the out. First baseman, the pitcher. Messersmith covering the line correctly, running parallel to the line to go across the bag.
Mercer way out in the front of the pitch. Just topped the ball. Garvey shoveling to Messersmith, a good fielding pitcher. He's a good athlete. He's also a good hitter. He had to dig it out, come up with a good play as Mercer runs well.
And here's a young power hitter of the Texas Rangers who leads the American League in runs batted in, Jeff Burrows, batting .285, 16 homers, 73 RBIs. 23 years old. There's some good young players in that Texas club, and they're one of the most improved teams in the major league. Jeff Bourne lives in Long Beach, California. 2 down, nobody on, no score on the top of the second. Fastball is inside, 1-0 to Burrows. Now our handheld camera's moved over and gives you the look down the first base line. Outside for ball 2, 2-0 to Burrows. Here in Pittsburgh, Jeff Burrows with 2 down, nobody on, has a 3-2 count. And he's on. Here's our first base runner. That brings up the veteran Brooks Robinson. Brooks enjoying a good season, hitting .311. 4 homers, 30 RBIs. Always seems to play his best in the All-Star competition or in a World Series. He's made some plays that the NBC cameras have captured in a World Series that he could run 50 years from now and couldn't believe them.
Would you believe that?
Well, this guy's in another world. I mean, he's unbelievable.
It was like a clinic when they played Cincinnati, wasn't it?
Oh, this is his 18th consecutive All-Star game. He has a drive out in the left field, charging his Rose. He has it. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of an inning and a half, it's 0-0. Johnny Bench will lead off. And he, as you can see, has had an imposing All-Star record. Kaline, Sano, and Robinson have been above 300. I'll tell you, hitting 300 or better, Joe, in All-Star competition is something considering the pitching you face.
You can say that, boy, 8 or 9 times. You're facing the best every time you walk up there.
Gaylord Perry breezed through the first inning. Bench has been swinging a hot bat. It's a strike to him. He's hit .360 in his last 15 games. And the Reds have started to make a move. Johnny has 17 homers, 65 RBIs. At the age of 25, he won a Most Valuable Player award. He's off stride on that pitch at strike 2. That was a fork ball, and Perry's feeding him that fork ball plenty tonight. Struck him out.
That was smoked. He just threw the ball right by Johnny.
35-year-old Gaylord Perry now struck out 3 of the first 4. Jim Wynn of the Dodgers is up. He leads the National League in homers with 21, hitting .290, 69 RBIs. He's playing with a floating chip in his right elbow. He's going to have an operation when the season's over. It's hampering him. And he can't throw in the outfield. It could be a factor here in the early innings.
I talked to Jimmy Wynn before the ball game and asked him what he remembers about Gaylord Perry when he faced him in the National League.
Well, I remember one thing, Gaylord likes to throw that greasy ball. And, of course, in the National League, he was a superstar. In the American League, he's a superstar. I'm just looking forward to facing that forkball that he has mastered a great deal.
The toy cannon. You get him in that nicknames on your show before the game, the toy cannon?
No, we didn't have room for that. We got Shotgun Shuba in there. But I like Pretzels Pizzulo.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Jim Wynn. He's second in the National League and walks to his buddy Joe Morgan. So Joe said he knows the strike zone. He hits a one-hopper, skids in front of Campaneris, picks it up. You saw Campaneris play the World Series last year. You know what kind of a shortstop he is.
And oddly enough, at one time, Bert was not considered a good defensive shortstop. He was an offensive ball player. He popped some home runs early in his career, but he has learned to play hitters, to get rid of the ball, make the pivot. Got that short hop. He really moved in on it.
Steve Garvey.
We talked to Garvey, a write-in candidate. He made it. Let's hear what he had to say with that honor.
Tony, it has to be my highest honor because of the way it was obtained, and the only thing I can do is send out one thank you for the 1 million people that wrote my name on the ballot, and to thank them very much for everything they've done to make this the happiest day of my life.
And that's something to make the starting team on write-ins. You know, nobody sits down and writes Mom a letter anymore.
And Kurt, how important it is to this youngster. He's not feeling well. Those of us that know him, his face is puffy. He missed the last 4 Dodger games due to an ear infection, but his wife was telling me in the hotel that his face is still puffy right around the jowls there, as you can well see if you know Steve.
He's batting with 2 down, nobody on. We have no score last of the second. We haven't had a hit yet. We've had 1 base runner, a walk to Jeff Burrows. That's been it. The 1-strike delivery, fouled away, and Gaylord Perry's ahead of him 2 strikes. Garvey, if you notice him at the plate, there's his buddy Ron Say on deck of the Dodgers. And the Reds and Dodgers dominate the starting team. 7 of the 9 starters on this team are from the Reds and Dodgers, which tells you something. Now watch Garvey has more of an upright stance probably than any other player in this game.
He has good power to right and left center field, not a pull hitter strictly.
Look at those arms.
Yes, sir.
Blacksmith. And he has a base hit up the middle. Well, there's our first hit. Steve Garvey singles to center.
With 2 out in the bottom of the second, Steve Garvey comes up. Garvey is only the 2nd player ever to win a starting berth via the fans' write-in votes. Rico Carty was the first in 1970. Garvey's single is the initial base hit of the ball game.
Ron Say, the Penguin, his teammates call him because of his size and his shuffling way of running, hitting .275, 12 homers, 64 RBIs, mostly a pull hitter. He'll hit the left field a lot, dangerous with men on. Very stocky.
I think that's a cute story that Joe told about not only his legs, but his short arms. Joe, maybe you can tell our fans.
It's Boswell's story to the Mets. I'll get it in here, I hope.
Nearly a wild pitch. Good stop by Thurman Munson.
Said he slid into second base and he was out, and Boswell said if he'd have slid in like a human being and stretched his arms, he'd have made it, but he went in like a penguin and he went in with his elbows.
He does have short arms. Yesterday when they were working out, he was behind the batting cage with Pete Rose, and Pete says, you know, we're going to pass you, Ron.
Oh, he let him have it, didn't he?
He says, we're going right by you. I know you aged 5 years last year. You're a good ball player, though, Ron.
Yeah.
You got a good ball club. There's a drive in a deep left center. That ball's tagged, and it's up against the wall. Coming in to score is Garvey. Ron Say holds at second with a double, and the National League leads 1-0.
You call him the Penguin, Joe. Take a look at this run. He takes strides about 3 feet long, doesn't he?
He scoots, man.
Get him a tuxedo.
That's right.
Garvey's Dodger teammate Ron Say challenges Perry. Say's drive to left center is good for 2 bases and an RBI as Garvey scores and the National League takes a 1-0 lead at the end of 2 innings.
Larry Bowa hitting .268, the shortstop of the Phillies. That's the first All-Star game for Garvey, Say, and Bowa. They're hitting in succession. There's a bounding ball to second baseman Carew. And that's all, but the National League has grabbed the lead. They had 1 run on 2 hits at the end of 2, 1-0 Nationals. Thurman Munson hitting number 8. Gaylord Perry is due to follow him. There's no action in the American League bullpen. Now they're getting some action. Louis Tion is getting up. They may hit for Perry. And then we'll go to the top of the order and pick up Rod Carew. Messersmith struck out 3, walked 1 in the first 2 innings. No hits. And he's in with a fastball for a strike to Munson, who replaced Carlton Fisk as the starting catcher. .247 average, you just see 9 homers, 28 RBIs. Fisk probably won't play the rest of the year. He's going to have a cast taken off tomorrow and start his exercise. He has a base hit to left. He may get 2 on this one. It's rolling to the wall. Munson heading for second, and he's in with a stand-up double to lead off the third.
Joe, they always talk about catchers being slow, but not Thurman Munson.
He can run. He can really run.
In the top of the third, Andy Messersmith faces Thurman Munson. Munson has a leadoff double, the first hit off Messersmith, and now Gaylord Perry will try to sacrifice.
And the bunt is on. He pops it up, but it's back up against the netting for strike 1. Now you, Tony, you played in the All-Star game. I think you had the best description of it. You come in, you have a 3-day break, but once the game starts, complete different attitude.
There's no doubt that the players want to win for their leagues and be the hero and the star to gain respect for their teams.
Good bunt. Messersmith has to go to first, covering his Morgan. Sacrifice for Perry. Munson's over at third now with 1 out and the top of the order coming up.
Spoke with Rod Carew just before the ball game, and we asked him this question: do you still think you have a chance to hit 400 this year?
Well, Tony, I think if I went into September hitting about 380 or so, I think I would have a pretty good shot at it because, usually in August and September I hit much better than I do the first half of the season. So if I can keep swinging the bat the way I've been swinging, I think I could hit 400 if it's in reach.
Rod Carew is an excellent bunter. Ball, when one time on a bonefish skiff down in the Florida Keys, I said to Ted Williams, can anybody hit 400 again? And he said, yes, somebody that can run, bunt, and slap the ball around and stay free of injuries, and this man describes it. Here is Ken Brett of the Pirates. He's going to come in and pitch in the 4th inning for the National League. Kenny Brett. There is Campaneris on deck. Bobby Mercer in back of him.
Talking about a change of pace. They're all bearing down and watching Messersmith.
Now Carew's on. Second walk by Messersmith. Runners on first and third. 1 out. Campaneris up. There goes the runner. Struck him out. The throw to second. Now into center field. Coming in to score will be Munson. Carew's on the way to third. He's in there, and the ball game is tied 1-1. Bench's throw wide of Morgan in the center.
We've talked a lot, Joe, about that hinged glove and the one-handed style as we watch Carew get the jump. But I think the ball might have gotten stuck in the webbing of Bench's glove. He couldn't get it out, and then he hurried his throw after he looked the runner back at third base and threw it wildly. There's a near collision, almost hurting somebody right there, as Carew just protects his face from the elbow of Joe Morgan. Very alertly, pops right back up into third base.
Johnny Bench's wild throw bounces into center field as Munson scores the tying run, and Carew moves on to third. Here's a second look at a rarity. Bench's throwing error is the first National League miscue in the last 11 years of All-Star competition.
Here's that play where Bench is trying to dig it out, and he had a little trouble getting it out. The ball kind of sailed. There you saw it. As it got by the pitcher, it sailed out towards the right field side of the bag, and Carew slid into Morgan, and that picked up an extra base.
And the National League has just made its first error of the last 11 All-Star games. They've gone 11 All-Star games in a row without an error. That's why they've been winning. They've been beating themselves. Johnny Bench charged with an error with a throw into center field. The game tied, 1-1 in the third inning. 2 down, Carew at third. He can steal home. I don't know whether he tried an All-Star game. Dick Williams back in baseball. There's Earl Weaver sitting alongside of him, and Weaver's captain out with the Angels, Frank Robinson. The 2-0 delivery. 3-0, and the throw in the center field seems to have shaken Messersmith up a bit.
You think he's looking for a hit sign at this particular spot, guys?
He's going to be wailing.
Jackson struck out his first time. I'll tell you one thing, if he goes, he'll take one of the hardest swings in baseball. He's on. 3 walks by Messersmith. Runners on first and third for the American League, and Dick Allen up.
This is a dangerous pitch, I think, Kurt. You pointed up that the throw may have upset Messersmith a bit. Now he's walked Reggie Jackson on 4 pitches, and Allen, usually the slugger will go up there saying he may want to just let up a bit to get a strike and get ahead of me, and if he does, he may go to work on massage it pretty good.
Look at Allen ready to bear down now. Fouls it off. He uses probably the heaviest bat in the majors. And boy, how he pulls that trigger. He can really get it around.
One of the few guys that can loop the bat. He's got a hitch, he loops it, but he sure does get that bat in the strike zone when that ball's there.
He slams it in the left field for a base hit. Carew scores. Jackson makes the turn and holds at second, and the American League leads 2-1. An RBI for Dick Allen.
Dick Allen single to left, brings Rod Carew home with the second run of the inning, and the American League is out in front 2-1.
That's the one thing that's got to impress you about all-star competition. When you can get 2 hitters like Jackson and Allen back-to-back in the same lineup, they can just devastate you, and they'll scare you, and I think they frightened Messersmith just a shade right then.
Bobby Mercer grounded out his first time. Let's face it, one of the reasons for the success of the All-Star game in baseball, which has been the most successful of all professional sports All-Star Classics, it's really not a team game. It's individual performers. Nobody can help you at bat. A strike, nobody help you pick up that ground ball or chase that fly, and each man extremely skilled in doing the individual things that are so important in baseball. Runners on first and second. 2 down. The American League has scored twice in the third. They're out in front 2-1. There's a shot. Oh, a good stab by Garvey's up. Throws to Messersmith. Sides out. He trapped that ball on the artificial surface and had to make the play. 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, 2 left. At the end of 2.5, 2-1 American League.
Steve Garvey stabs Mercer's hot liner, flips to Messersmith, and the American League is retired in the third. A fielding gem by young Steve Garvey.
This has been called by many as the most dramatic moment in the history of the All-Star game. The American League trailed 5-4 in Detroit, bottom of the ninth, 2 out, 2 on, Williams at bat. Claude Passot, the Cubs, on the mound. Williams, an effervescent young kid, always has great enthusiasm, but look at Tony, that was his greatest thrill in baseball.
He really showed it, too.
We got a man up now, Ralph Garr, who is going to be a pinch hitter for the National League, and a couple of defensive changes for the American League squad.
Yastrzemski, there's Gritch at second, and Yastrzemski goes to first base. Allen is out, Carew is out. Ralph Garr leading the National League in batting. A strike. The Roadrunner, he had to get the permission of, I think, a movie company to use that nickname, the Roadrunner, from the cartoon, the Roadrunner. He can run roads and bases. 1 strike to Ralph Garr. That's the fork ball by Gaylord Perry, 0-2. Gar leads the majors in base hits and in triples. And if I ask you a little personal quiz, the two-strike delivery, foul back, who leads the major leagues in total bases? You might say, oh, it must be one of the big power boys, Dick Allen, Reggie Jackson. No, sir, it's this fellow right here. Ralph Gar has 201 total bases to lead the major leagues at the All-Star break.
We talked to Ralph Gar before the game. You mentioned he has 149 hits. We asked him what he foresees the second half of this season or after the All-Star game the last 2 months.
Well, that's great. You know, you go out and do what you are capable of doing and use it to its highest potential. I've been pretty successful this year. I've been topping the ball. I've been bunting. I've been hitting the ball hard every now and then. Most of all, God has blessed me to keep my legs strong, and I've been running pretty well, and everything's been going great for me, and I just hope that I can continue to make good contact as the year progresses, and hope they go on and have a good year.
Yeah, Ralph, you didn't make contact then. Gar strikes out as a pinch hitter. Now Pete Rose, who's a switch hitter, is up for the second time. He struck out his first time. The National League now has two left-handed batters, Brock and Grubb, in the dugout. They have three switch hitters in the dugout. And this can get important in the late inning. 4 strikeouts for Gaylord Perry. The American League's ahead 2-1 and last of the third. Pounding ball hit the second baseman Gritch. Over to the new first baseman Yastrzemski, who's been plagued with a bad back but felt all right to get in the lineup tonight. 2 down. Joe Morgan struck out. Here's a fella having a tremendous year, Bobby Gritch of the Orioles. I tell you, the American League's desperate to win. They lost 11 of the last 12. The new American League president, Lee McPhail, put out an order asking the managers not to pitch any of the American League starters on Sunday so they'd be rested. And Dick Williams said, I'm not going to put everybody in just to make everybody happy tonight. If we get ahead, I'm going to keep a lineup on the field that can win. There's a high foul out of play. The roar you heard is for Ken Brett, who just trotted in from the National League bullpen. 10 of the last 11 the American League's lost. Kenny Brett, he's the only Pirate representative here tonight. And the Pirates are getting hot. They won 8 in a row. They hated to see the All-Star break come.
We sure did.
2 down, nobody on. Hard ground ball, hits the umpire. Art France, ball's in play. Joe Morgan goes to second. Probably would have been a double anyway, but Art France was hit in the foot by that hot grounder.
Yastrzemski playing off the line, didn't have a chance. You'll see the ball as France is in foul territory, just ticked his foot. The ball would have gone down to the corner anyway for a sure double, maybe a triple if it started bouncing around down there.
Batter is Hank Aaron. He told me tonight that Sadahura Oh, the great Japanese home run hitter, who's over 600 home runs now at the age of 32, has challenged Henry to an international home run hitting contest. $50,000 to the winner, and Henry's going to take him up and go to Tokyo after the season is over. And go against Sadahura Oh. Aaron sent Burroughs to the warning track. His first time up with a long fly to left. There's Burroughs. Average outfielder, not a great one, but average. He is a bounding ball deep short. Campaneris with a strong arm. It's there in time. No runs, a hit, one man left for the National League. At the end of 3, it's 2-1 in favor of the American League.
For the National League, number 30.
The Pittsburgh fans welcome their own All-Star as Ken Brett enters the game to pitch in the top of the 4th.
Came up with the Red Sox, went to Milwaukee, then the Phillies. The Phillies traded him over the winter to Pittsburgh for Dave Cash, a trade that has proven out for both teams. Cash has helped the Phillies, and Brett certainly has been a mainstay for Pittsburgh. Jeff Burroughs walked his first time. Brett had a sore arm the last year or two. It's typical of a lot of young left-handers who sort of develop late. He's not real late, but coming into his own now. 2 balls and no strikes.
Yogi told me that he would have made him a hitter, Kurt. He's that good a hitter.
He's had a better than 300 batting average all year. Excuse me. That pitch tailed off a little bit from Burroughs.
Look at the room from our handheld camera between the right fielder, Wynn, and that foul line. He hits the ball down in that area, it's going to go forever.
A curveball is low, and the count is 3-1.
Tony, this is apropos of nothing, but I think the National League with their white shoes is dressed better.
Well, we got to take a look at those A's players more.
And they're the only ones. Cincinnati, they usually wear red or black, but they've got white shoes on. They're happy as kids, with Morgan especially out there. But I don't know, it brightens it up. I like all those colors.
I remember when the A's first broke out with the color uniforms and the gold shoes, they laughed at them about being a women's softball team.
Right.
Burroughs has walked twice. Brooks Robinson lined to left in his first trip. 2 runs, 2 hits for the American League. 1 run, 3 hits for the National League. There's a high pop. Morgan calling for it, the National League second baseman. And little Joe squeezes it for the out. Burroughs stays at first. And the National League has 1 error, their first error since the 9th inning, the second game of the 1962 All-Star game. The error committed by Eddie Matthews, actually 2 errors on 1 play. That's quite a record, going 11 years without an error, with full houses and millions watching on television. Thurman Munson is double. If you're keeping score along with us, Cedeno is going to bat 3rd in the National League lineup, and Ken Brett in the leadoff spot. A strike to Munson, who scored the first run for the National League. He doubled 11, went to second on a sacrifice, scored on a throwing error by Bench in the center field. A 1-strike delivery. And he pops it up in the shallow right. Coming hard's Wynn. Going back's Morgan. Wagging for it. Takes it out number 2. And Morgan can do everything.
Boy, he can. He just is a good ball player. Hey, look at here.
Al Kaline. Al Kaline coming up. The classy veteran of the Detroit Tigers, who is on his way, and he's after it. He needs 58 more hits to reach the magic 3,000 level. If he doesn't get them this year, he said he's going to stay on and play next year. He wants the 3,000 hits. Fouls it back. The last man, or the last 2 men, you have to go back nearly 50 years in the American League for the last man to reach 3,000 hits. Tris Speaker and Eddie Collins in the 1925 season. And the most recent player, the late Roberto Clemente, who reached the 3,000 mark level. Only 11 players in the history of the major leagues have reached 3,000 hits. 1-1. There's Burroughs at first, 2 down, 2-1 American League in the 4th inning. Kaline pops it up. Johnny Bench flipping the mask away. And that's all. Brett, after walking Burroughs, gets 3 pop-ups in a row. At the end of 3 1/2, it's 2-1 American League.
Following a walk to Jeff Burrows, Brett gets Brooks Robinson on a pop-up to second baseman Joe Morgan. Thurman Munson follows suit as Morgan waves off Jimmy Wynn to take it himself. Making his 16th and final All-Star appearance, Al Kaline gets a nice hand from the big crowd at Three Rivers Stadium, but Brett delivers yet another pop-up pill, and the American League leaves Jeff Burrows stranded on first.
You know, they call Pete Rose Charlie Hustle, but the original was a guy I first played with during my rookie year with the Cardinals, and I'm talking about Enos Country Slaughter. In the 1953 All-Star game, which was won by the National League 5-1 at Crosley Field in Cincinnati, was a good example. Well, Eno was 37 then, but he was a one-man wrecking crew. Harvey Keene found that out when he was robbed of a sure hit by this spectacular catch. With Mike Garcia pitching to Jackie Robinson, Eno stole second base. Yogi Berra was the catcher. Satchel Paige in his windmill style was perfect for Slaughter. He singled out the oldest man ever to play in an All-Star game, and Roy Campanella scored on a base hit. It was a one-man performance in the 1953 All-Star game by Eno Slaughter, the original Charlie Hustle, who could do it all, and he did it every single day.
Now here's a man that almost falls apart in everything but the win column. Louis Tiant. 14 wins for the Red Sox veteran, 7 losses, 2.78 earned run average. He got off to a slow start, and he's a new papa. Had a baby boy Saturday. We have Joe Rudy in left field. He has replaced Jeff Burrows. Rudy now the left fielder. And he'll be batting 6th, and Tiant will be batting 9th. There's it's not the blooper, it's not the ephus, it's just the Tiant wiggle.
He is fun to watch. He turned his back completely to the hitter, Johnny Bench, looked out to his center fielder, said, I'm throwing him a changeup, and he did.
The 1-1 delivery by Tiant. That's his fastball, and listen, he has something on it when he wants to deliver. He has, his favorite saying is, what you need. What you need. An obliging guy, great sense of humor, a fun man to have around a ball club. A 1-2 pitch. Look at that head jerk.
Hey, okay, let's take a look at Louis Tiant again. He doesn't ever look at the hitter, doesn't seem like. Down on his toe, up at the sky, out to center field, and he comes from all directions with 4 or 5 different pitches.
Bench solves him for a line drive, hit to left. Rudy has it on a hop. So Johnny Bench was struck out the first time as single. The National League has out-hit the American League 4-2, but the American League's ahead 2-1. Jim Wynn bounced to short his first trip.
We got 2 minutes. Okay. You brought your own bat, James? I brought my own bat. Is that allowed?
That's fine.
Okay, Jim. Make us look good. Do something for us. Save us. Get us out of this, Jim. Okay. Jim, start early. You want to warm up first? I want to see this. Take a look at one, Jim.
Let's go now. Bring it over. Down the middle.
Take a look at one. Take a look at it. Don't come on, get in. That's ball. That's high. That's a ball. What? That's a ball. 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 All right, come on.
Okay, let's give him 4 strikes now. We'll shoot it in. Here we go.
And that one is in the center field for a base hit. Bench is coming to third. Runners on first and third. Nobody out. Jimmy Wynn single.
Veteran Louis Tiant is the second American League hurler, replacing Perry in the 4th. Johnny Bench greets Tiant with a line single to left. Third base coach Sparky Anderson relays the sign to Bench on first and offers some encouragement to Jimmy Wynn at the plate.
Come on, Jimmy.
Tiant's tricky motion fails to distract Wynn.
That's the boy, Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy. Come on, John. Come on, come on. Get over here. Right here, John. Right here, right here. That's the boy. He's going to hit that ball. Got nobody out now. Tag up on a fly ball halfway on the short. That's a boy. Boy, I tell you, he got some motion. You got to see him a little bit and get used to it. Attaboy, Jimmy. Come on, Stevie.
Sparky Anderson coaching at third, the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Red Schoendienst, the manager of the Cardinals, is coaching at first. Old Silver Locks. There's the redhead. You got the white and the red on the coaching boxes tonight. And Tiant has been tagged for 2 singles by the first 2 men he's faced. Steve Garvey singled his first time up. And he drills it into left field. Base hit, going to the corner. Bench is scoring. Wynn is rounding third. He's being held up. Garvey has a double. The game is tied. And Tiant has been no mystery to the National League.
Steve Garvey steps in with men on first and third. Garvey's line drive double falls just inside the left field foul line. Bench scores to tie it up, and Wynn holds on at third.
Garvey is 2 for 2, and Weaver's calling the bullpen. Our mobile camera's right down there in the American League dugout now, and he's giving you a look. You've never seen this look before in a televised ball game. The look out on the field from the manager's viewpoint. And this is a different look than any other park because the Pittsburgh dugouts are even with the playing field. Most of them are below the playing field. Now there's the camera right in back of Dick Williams. You always wonder what it looks to look out from a Major League dugout. You're seeing it tonight. A rare look for you fans across America. Ron Say, who doubled and knocked in a run his first time, looks at ball 1. And Dick Williams is anxious.
That American League bullpen looked like a firehouse for just a couple minutes. There were players scurrying all over the place. Wilbur Wood and Catfish Hunter are now throwing.
National League is a run in. They have runners on second and third, nobody out. They tied it at 2-all. Curve is outside. 2 balls and no strikes. And now Williams is coming out to talk to Tiant.
Tiant's motion certainly has not fooled the National League hitters so far, but he's also hung some curveballs, especially the one to Garvey, high and inside.
Tony, I can imagine with the first base open, too, Dick Williams wanted to find out how Tiant felt. He doesn't have a big power hitter coming up next, and Say can pop the ball, and if he hits one now, it'd be a big, big bulge for the National League.
They're deep and toward left for Ron Say. There's ball 3. You saw that little bulletin flash to you. 4 first-place finishes for Williams. One of those was a division championship, but they lost the pennant to the Orioles in the playoffs when he was out at Oakland. And, of course, you all know the story of Williams and Finley and walking away. Ground ball to second. Grich is up, looks to home, lets the man come on in, and throws Say out at first, an RBI for Say, who now has knocked in 2 runs. You don't think they want to win?
Huh.
Ron Say routes a sharp ground ball to Bobby Grich that allows Jimmy Wynn to bring the tie-breaking run across the plate, and it's 3-2 National League.
Larry Boa grounded out his first time. An excellent bunter, and the infield's in. There's a grounder to short. The draw in infield. Campaneris looked the man back. Throws Boa out. 2 down. Garvey still at third. And Ralph Gar's up. He struck out his first time. Now the infield backs up.
With 2 outs, they've still got to be a little bit cautious with Gar up there because he's a pretty good bunter. He may try and score the run that way.
And also they have to play in Tony and Joe a step or 2 on him. Robinson's even with the bag at third because of Gar's tremendous speed going down the line. Change up is foul back. That is Tiant's hesitation pitch, sort of a takeoff of Satchel Paige's stopping at the top of his delivery, hesitating, then coming on through with his delivery. 1 strike to Ralph Gar. 3-2, National League. High fly down the left field line. Campaneris going out, calling for it. A foul ball, he has it, the side's out. 2 runs, though, for the National League. 3 hits, they left 1. At the end of 4, 3-2, National League.
Exciting and entertaining Major League Baseball films are available for group showings at your organization or club function. For a free brochure of baseball film listings, send a postcard to Baseball Film Division, 1650 Broadway, New York, New York, and the zip is 10019.
The preceding announcement furnished by Major League Baseball. This is the commissioner's box, and you're right in the front row, Mr. and Mrs. Kuhn or Mr. and Miss Galbraith. Don't know the other gentleman. It's Bill Salatis, the president of Gillette North America, and Julian Goodman, chairman of NBC, chairman of the board. There's a drive into right field by Bob Gritch to lead off the 5th. He's on. Gritch has hit 15 homers this year. All right, it's a 2-2 count to Bert Campaneris. He struck out twice. He hits a drive into right center. Back deep goes Cedeno. Back, and grabs it on the run. He just outran that ball. Fires to first, trying to double up the runner. That's the play of the ball game so far.
He was playing Campy to left center field and underestimated his power, and he ran a mile. Cedeno, after the luncheon for the players by the commissioner this afternoon, had food poisoning. They almost had to take him to a hospital. He lost the feeling in his hands. They did not think he was going to play, and look what he comes up with, and almost throws behind Gritch and doubles him off.
After Bobby Gritch leads off the 5th with a single, Campaneris is up. Campy's shot up the right center alley is run down by Cesar Cedeno. Great catch sure tells it all, and that's worth another look. Cedeno simply outruns the ball to rob Campaneris and the American Leaguers of extra bases and a game-tying run.
He can do everything.
Well, he has tremendous skills. He leads the majors in RBIs. He won his 2nd successive Golden Glove Award last year. One of the 3 best defensive outfielders in the National League. He can hit. He can go from first to third in a line drive single to left. Reggie Jackson. A ball to him. Reggie has struck out, walked. 1 out. As Cedeno has just robbed Campaneris and maybe saved a run of an extra base hit. A big high hopper hit to Morgan. He goes to second. Gamble. Out. No play at first. Morgan unloaded that ball quickly to Larry Boa.
And Larry Boa gives a pretty good target as he moved to the outside of the bag so that the ball, the throw, would not hit Gritch sliding. Had he stayed right on the bag, the ball might have hit Gritch, bounced away. Chancy play by Morgan. Good defense so far in this game by the National League. Garvey, Cedeno, now Morgan getting the lead runner.
Carl Yastrzemski up for the first time. A strike in the corner to him. He's hitting .331. He is 2nd now in the American League in batting to Rod Carew. Carl has 11 homers, 54 runs batted in. Perennial All-Star for the Red Sox. And this is the Allegheny Club. This is one of these private clubs we have in all the new stadiums in baseball. Look at them, isn't that? That's a tough way to watch a ball game, huh?
I tell you, the good old days are right now.
A little more dessert, sir?
Oh, yes, please.
And it's stabs by Morgan at first, and he took a base hit away from Yastrzemski. No runs, a hit, one left. And the score at the end of 4 1/2, 3-2 National.
Reggie Jackson chops a high bouncer to Joe Morgan. Morgan goes to second for the force on Gritch to keep the American League out of scoring position. Morgan grabs Carl Yastrzemski's bid for a base hit, and the National League defense has rebounded from that third inning era in fine fashion.
After 8 straight losses, the American League finally won the 1971 All-Star Game at Tiger Stadium, Detroit, 6-4. One of the key reasons was pinch hitter Reggie Jackson, who probably slammed the longest home run in All-Star Game history. Jackson connected off Doc Ellis. The ball sailed high, 520 feet from home plate, and then bounced back onto the field. Might have gone 600 feet and out of the park if it had not hit a power transformer. Later, Al Kaline of the Tigers said, "I've been in this park 18 years, and I never saw a ball hit that hard."
And looking in from our mobile camera in center field, we also have a new center fielder now for the American League. George Hendrick of the Cleveland Indians has replaced Mercer. Lou Brock is coming up to bat in the leadoff spot for Ken Brett. The fans are booing. They wanted to see Brett hit. Lou Brock. And we thank the Pittsburgh Pirates for their courtesy, and they have been marvelous hosts to the nation's press, radio, TV, and all the fans here for this All-Star Game. Lou Brock, .316 average, 3 homers, but a big story him, of course, 60 stolen bases. Change up in the right field. We'll get a chance to see him now in the bases. He's on. He is 22 games ahead of Maury Wills' pace when Wills broke the all-time record, Ty Cobb's record, in 1962. But Wills stole 47 bases, or 49 of his last 55 games.
And let's not only watch Lou Brock, let's watch Luis Tiant, who has all kinds of trick moves toward home plate and toward first base. Some say he balks, but watch him.
All right, Brock getting back. Brock stole his 60th game and his 60th base in his 95th game. Maury, his 60th base. Bluffs the dash, doesn't go.
And that's a sign of a good base stealer. Lou knew he did not have the good jump. Tiant held the ball, got him flat-footed, so he decided not to go.
Actually, as I look down here, Maury stole 53 bases in his last 59 games to pinch it down even more. And Brock knows he's got a fantastic pace in August and September to break the all-time record. But he's going for it. There, he starts the bluff. It doesn't go. I want to tell you one thing. 60 bases at the All-Star break for a man 35 years old is an amazing feat.
That it is. It's an amazing feat anytime, but All-Star break, it's a lot. There's a real cat-and-mouse game going on here because Tiant is throwing from any part of the stretch position he's going into, and Brock, who has the green light to run anytime he gets the jump.
Morgan has struck out and doubled. It's a 2-0 count. Brock is going. Here's the throw by Munson. He's in there. He's got it. He's on his way to third. Brock steals second, goes to third on the throw in the center field. That's his first stolen base in All-Star Game competition.
Lou Brock leads off in the bottom of the 5th. Brock singles to right. Brock is on his way to fracturing Maury Wills' single-season record for stolen bases, so Tiant tries to keep him close. Brock is off and running.
Come on, Luke! Stand up, Lou! Stand up, brother, man! Come on, Lou.
Here's the replay. Thurman Munson's throw bounces past Campaneris as Brock steals second and cruises to third. Another view now as Munson hurries his throw. Brock's speed forces the arrow, and suddenly a single has become a triple.
Look at it again.
Tony, I didn't think he had a good jump at that because he kind of broke back off his foot rather than his left foot rather than the crossover, and that throw, a low throw, and Brock in complete control goes on over to third.
Good throw would have had him beat, Joe. As
Yes,
you
sir.
said, you could see it.
And a throwing error charged to Thurman Munson. Each catcher now has been charged with a throwing error. The 3-2 pitch to Morgan. Line drive into center field at Hendrick. Brock will score easily. He could crawl in on this one. And the National League has a 4-2 lead, a sacrifice fly, an RBI for Joe Morgan.
You know yourself what you can do better than me. But we got nobody out. Come on, Joey. I'll get Robbie for you right here.
Tiant stays with the stretch rather than a full windup with Brock on third, but Joe Morgan brings him home on this sacrifice fly to center field.
Battle, baby. That's a my little man.
Brock's tally makes the score National League 4, American League 2.
Here's Cedeno. We said he could do it all. Watch his catch again off the bat of Bert Campaneris. Then we'll tell you about his batting and his base running skills. Here he is now, just inserted in the game in center field, robbing Campaneris of at least a double. And maybe a triple the way Campaneris can run. He just outran that ball with his speed. Cedeno leads the majors in RBIs with 75, 19 homers, a .299 batting average, and he's stolen 36 bases. What credentials? And still in his young 20s.
3 All-Star games, the age of 23. He has those same credentials as Reggie Jackson has, can do it all.
He hits a high fly out to left center. George Hendrick loses his cap, but not the ball. There's 2 down. Morgan has knocked in a run for the National League. Garvey's knocked in 1, and Ron Say has driven in 2. Johnny Bench struck out, singled. He scored a run. 3 homers in All-Star games for Johnny. He'll have a lot of All-Star games left. Back in the All-Star game in Washington, Bench hit a line drive. Yastrzemski vaulted above the left field fence and robbed him of a home run. Curveball, there's a high drive to deep left. Yastrzemski back, and it is autograph by Yastrzemski, robbing Johnny Bench of a home run. Three balls and a strike. Tiant has not been as effective tonight as he's been the last 6 weeks with the Red Sox.
He got Johnny Bench talking to himself, Kurt.
The 3-1 pitch to Bench. Strike 2 with a fastball, 3-2.
I don't know how you would feel hitting against him, Kurt. Or Tony, did you ever bat against him?
Yeah, when he first came up with Cleveland, and he could throw hard, and that's about all he did. Now he mixes them up quite a bit.
But I wish he'd look at you when he throws.
Well, what a bargain for the Red Sox. They picked him up in the minor leagues. Everybody thought he was done. 20-game winner last year, on his way to another 20-game season this year. This is his second All-Star game. He was a starting pitcher in the 68 game at Houston. He was charged with a loss, a 1-0 loss, and his own throwing error to first base led to the run. Willie Mays back, ball gets away. There goes Mays to second, and he's in there. Willie Mays in that game, scoring the unearned run that won the game for the National League. Change up, hit deep to right. Jackson backing up. He's an excellent outfielder. That's all, but the National League picked up a run, a hit. There was 1 error, 1 left. At the end of 5, 4-2, National League. I want you to meet one of our favorite fellows in sports broadcasting, Bob Prince, the colorful voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And we wanted you to come in and say hello to the nation fans tonight, Bob.
Well, thank you, Kurt, and everybody. It's really nice to be here, and it's awfully good to see the National League, if I may root just a moment on national television for our National League club to be ahead 4-2. But there's one thing missing here, Kurt. I can't get over the fact that mere mortals now play right field with the loss of Roberto Clemente.
I saw Mrs. Clemente. She was at the luncheon, and they dedicated a new ballpark in his name, right?
Yes, they did down in Miami, and of course this young man will go on to be one of the great superstars as time erases the memory of him to one degree. But the game is on now, and you have a new pitcher, John Matlack of the New York Mets, working.
All right, thank you, Bob Prince, for being on with us. George Hendrick facing John Matlack. Matlack has won 9, lost 6. Earned run average at 2.55. His first All-Star game. There it is. He hits it into center field. He's a 300 hitter with the Indians and smacked 16 homers. So George Hendrick leads off in the 6th inning.
John Matlack is the recipient of Johnny Bench's signals in the top of the 6th inning, and George Hendrick leads off for the American Leaguers with a solid single.
Joe Rudy. We've talked about this in the Saturday game of the week, NBC's Monday Night Baseball. Not out in the Bay Area, but maybe the most unappreciated Major League ball player today, Joe Rudy.
I'll go along with that.
Never says a word. All he does is just do the job, make the big plays, get the big hits, play outstandingly in the World Series. He's up for his first time. Ball went to him. He's knocked in 62 runs and hitting .303, and he's had 26 doubles to lead the National League, or the American League. We're now in the National League bullpen with our creepy camera, and warming up out there is Lynn McLaughlin of the St. Louis Cardinals. Something's going on in the stands. That's what it looks like in a bullpen if you're out there with behind that camera. Here's a high fly ball to deep right. Reggie Smith on the warning track for the first out on the top of the 6th inning. Saturday, NBC at 2 o'clock Eastern Time will present the St. Louis Cardinals against the Cubs at Wrigley Field, the backup game Detroit at Cleveland. On NBC Sports, #1 in live coverage of major sports events all year round. And now our mobile camera, run by a micro relay system, gives you the look from the right field line. We have 2 of these cameras here tonight. Now here's our second camera, high in Three River Stadium looking down, and the other one in the National League bullpen. The 2-2 delivery. There's a drive in a deep right center. Cedeno room again. 2 outs. George Hendrick holds at first. And Thurman Munson coming up. Munson has doubled and popped up. Frank Robinson is on deck, and if he gets a shot, he's going to pinch hit. Frank Robinson. Now 4th on the all-time home run list. And it's 3-0 to Thurman Munson.
What do you think, Kurt? They've been turning him loose. You think he's going to hit? Come on.
I don't
think so. I think
they like to give
the take on here.
Robbie a shot with a couple men on.
Taken all the way.
Taking ball 4. Frank Robinson now will bat. There's Yogi Berra. He's getting a little anxious. The National League manager, and Joe Garagiola, his old buddy in the Hill in St. Louis.
Our fans might recall early in the ball game where we did a little tape with Henry Aaron where he said if he were offered the Atlanta Braves manager's job, he would take it. He also said, and further elaborated to the press, that he thought Frank Robinson, the man at the plate right now, should have gotten the California Angels manager's job. So there's going to be something stirred up in the press tomorrow, fellas.
He was that straightforward, huh, Tony?
Yeah, I guess he was.
Frank Robinson, speaking of those 3,000 hits, he's not far away either. And he fouls it off the bat handle. Might have broken his bat. Nope. He needs 141 more hits to reach 3,000. And he'd like to go for that goal. He says he'll try and play next year also. He did break his bat.
When you talk about the quick bats, you have to have this fellow among the top 3 because he stands right on top of that plate, sometimes his elbow even in the strike zone, and right on top of it.
He had some kind of funny comment. He's got the bench broken up on that one.
In the American League.
That fastball. moving right on the fist. It looked like it might have been a slider, but he really jammed him. The ball almost hit Frank. I don't even know how he got out in front on it and pulled it. He really sawed him off.
Tony, I wonder if he was laughing because you played an all-star game, so you know you get a couple free new bats. He may have wanted to take one of them home for a souvenir. Now he's got to use it.
1 strike to Frank Robinson. 2 down, runners on first and second. American League 2 runs down. There's the bullpen. Lynn McLaughlin warming up. Had an outstanding year for the Cardinals. Messersmith started. Brett pitched 2 innings, and now Matlack. Curve, Fuller, what a curve that was. He really broke that one off. That's the best curve we've seen tonight.
That was Uncle Charlie, Kurt.
Right off the end of the table. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Here's the breaking pitch again as Frank just can't hold up. Took a little bit off. It had Robinson out in front. Ball almost hitting in the dirt. Yes, it did. Bench digging it out. It really broke off the table.
There's a ground ball. Morgan plays it in back to second. Scoops to Boa. Fine play again by the National League infield. That's the difference tonight. No runs, a hit, no errors, 2 left. At the end of 5 1/2, 4-2 National League.
California Angels, Frank Robinson is batting.
Matlack retires the next 2 batters, but walks Munson and faces Frank Robinson with runners on first and second. Joe Morgan quickly moves to his right, flips to Larry Boa, and the National League is out of the inning with their 2-run margin still intact.
Now a message paid for by the Pittsburgh Pirates. The official 1974 All-Star program is being offered by mail to fans and collectors for $2.50. The 72-page book contains special features with color photographs on baseball's all-time All-Stars. Mantle, Clemente, Musial, Mays, Robinson, Williams, Aaron, Berra, Kaline. Scouting reports, photos of the 74 squad, a pictorial history of the All-Star contest, and many other interesting articles. Send $2.50 to All-Star Program, Three River Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15212. We have a new pitcher now for the American League, Jim Catfish Hunter. 14 wins, 8 losses. Started the season with a quick victory getaway, then went into a mysterious slump and then bounced back. He has a 6-game winning streak now. He's not lost since June 16th when the Yankees beat him. And an earned run average of 2.63. 3 years in a row he's won over 20 games. And when the A's need him in that 5th game of the playoffs, or in that 7th, or that big game in the World Series, he's the man that's done it for him.
Kurt, last Saturday when we did the Game of the Week from Cleveland, he hooked up with Gaylord Perry, and it was really a classic pitching duel, Perry and Hunter. You talk about a competitor. We talked about Perry. This fella, as they say, has a pretty good-sized Valentine going for him.
Steve Garvey's the batting star tonight. He's 2 out of 2, and it's a strike by Hunter. Garvey's single. He scored a run in the 2nd. He doubled and knocked in a run in the 4th. He's 2 for 2. Mike Schmidt is on deck. He's going to bat for Ron Say. That's hit to Robinson at 3rd. It's a foul ball. The American League infield remains Robinson at 3rd, Campaneris at short, Rich at 2nd, Yastrzemski at 1st. The outfield is Rudy in left, Hendrick in center, Jackson in right.
That's one of those bats, I believe. You saw it standing at home plate. The bat boy left it there all by itself. I think it's one of those with a hollowed-out tip where you've got a flat top.
You know, the reason for that is, Pee Wee Reese was explaining to me, it takes about a ½ ounce or an ounce weight out of the bat. You can't hit with the end of the bat.
Right.
And Hunter strikes out the first man. He faces Steve Garvey. Now Mike Schmidt, another right-in man in this game. You fans, his name wasn't on the list. You wrote his name down. And the young third baseman of the Phillies hitting .314, 19 homers, 67 RBI. And we're going to have another pinch hitter. Tony Perez is coming out on deck for the National League. Tony Perez. 4-2, National League ahead. As we always have a busy telecast in these games with players shuttling in and out and pinch hitters, defensive changes, pitcher changes. Ron Say had knocked in 2 runs. He's left the game. Hunter behind 3-0. You know, I asked Jim tonight, I said, there's Sparky Anderson, the third base coach, hit or take, huh? I said, tell me the true story of that nickname, Catfish. Well, he said, you know who gave me that nickname? He said, Mr. Charles Finley. There's a strike. When he signed him, he said, Jim, I got to have a nickname for you. When you're 6 years old, you're missing all day. Foul ball back. You went fishing. Nobody could find you. You came home at 6 o'clock with 2 catfish. Remember that story. Give it back to me, Don. When I was 6 years old, I went fishing. I came home with 2 catfish, and that's been his nickname ever since that his owner, Charlie Finley, gave him. Pretty good nickname, too. And he says, you know, when they introduce me around, they say, here's Jim Hunter, nobody knows me. But when they say Catfish Hunter, everybody knows me.
Imagine that. If you don't go to big leagues, you don't get the nickname.
Right. An interesting story. You know, he nearly blew his foot off in a hunting accident when he was a teenager. And yet, Charlie Finley went ahead with a bonus and sent him to the Mayo Clinic for some operations on his foot. He'd never played in the minor leagues. And the Catfish said, Mr. Finley, you know, you can have your money back. I'm a damaged piece of goods right now. I nearly blew my foot off. And he said, no, sir, I'm going to get you fixed up. I want your arm. And what a decision he made to back it all up. I wonder if he can fish. 3-2 pitch. Foul back.
I know he can hunt. He's got 30-some hunting dogs.
That could be an embarrassing question, couldn't it?
Yeah.
You mentioned
Catfish Metkovich.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that was a true story.
What did he stepped on one, didn't he?
Stepped on one, got an infection. 3-2. And Hunter's inside. And Mike Schmidt walks in the last of the 6th inning. Now here's Tony Perez batting for Larry Boa. We're going to have some new looks in that National League infield in the top of the 7th that's played so brilliantly so far. Tony Perez, all he does is just roll along every year, knocking in, averaging about 100 RBIs for the Reds. You might recall out at Anaheim, he hit a home run in the 15th inning off Catfish Hunter to win 2-1 for the National League in '67.
On the 2nd pitch, Hunter fires a fastball, and Perez rips into it for a long drive to left field. It's going, gone for a home run into the left field bleachers.
That high hard one fooled Perez. 2 strikeouts for Catfish this inning. And Ralph Garr up. He is struck out and fouled out. Garr, a great stop by Yastrzemski to rob Garr of a double. Yastrzemski makes the play of the game for the American League here in the last of the 6th.
Yaz moving off the base with Schmidt. And that's a difficult play because his momentum was going towards second base after he moved off the bag after makes a nice dainty tag. He was blowing a bubble there as he did it. Took it so nonchalantly.
So at the end of 6 innings, the National League 4, the American League 2.
Catfish Hunter walks Mike Schmidt in the bottom of the 6th, but escapes further trouble as Carl Yastrzemski takes a sure double away from Ralph Garr with a great defensive play.
Stan Musial has hit more home runs, 6 in All-Star Game history than any other player, but I bet the one that Stan the Man remembers best was at County Stadium in Milwaukee in 1955. Score was tied, and Musial broke up the game on Frank Sullivan's first pitch in the bottom of the 12th. There it goes, and gave the National League a 6-5 win after the trail 5-0. Now, besides Sullivan, Musial also connected off Walt Masterson, Mel Parnell, Eddie Lopat, Tom Brewer, Jerry Staley, all of whom are probably fans of Stan the Man.
We have a new pitcher now. Lynn McLaughlin has come on. A new third baseman. Mike Schmidt has gone to third. And a new shortstop, Don Kessinger, is now playing short. Morgan stays at second. Garvey remains at first.
New left fielder, Johnny Grubb, San Diego Padres.
Cedeno remains in center, and Reggie Smith stays in right. The National League figured that maybe their bench team was stronger than their starting team. How much depth they had through their squad.
I think they've got more defense on their bench now in the ball game, and also more speed than that starting lineup and better throwing arms in the outfield.
Lynn McLaughlin has won 12 and lost 6 for the Cardinals. He misses with the ball. He's facing Bobby Grich, who singled in his one time up. McLaughlin, in his 7th pro season, began in the Red Sox organization in '68. That ball's hit the third baseman Schmidt. An easy play for him. 1 down. Bert Campaneris is up before he moves in. Next Monday night on NBC, we'll present the Yankees against the Red Sox at Boston. The backup game will be San Francisco at Houston. Our special guest, a man going into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown in August, Whitey Ford, former great pitcher of the Yankees. And Joe will have his baseball world on before the ball game. Campaneris lifts the fly ball to Smith and right. And McLaughlin has the first 2 men out. What's the pregame show next Monday night, Joe?
We're going to go back and check the Negro Leagues with Cool Papa Bell and Satchel Paige and Normal Tweed, and we're going to talk about that. We got some rare footage, and it's a shame that more records weren't kept about the old Negro Leagues.
Reggie Jackson has struck out, walked it into a force play. 4-2, National League ahead. The strike, Mike Marshall, the Dodgers. The ace reliever of the majors this year, getting ready. 2 down, nobody on, 3-2 to Jackson. He got him on a curveball. Jackson is caught looking. 3 up and 3 down for the Americans. And with the 7th inning stretch coming up, it's still the Nationals 4 and the Americans 2.
In 1962, en route to his major league record of 104 stolen bases, Maury Wills, there he is with Jim Simpson in our radio booth. He stopped off at D.C. Stadium in Washington for the first All-Star game played that year and stole it too. Maury didn't get in the game until the 6th inning when it was still scoreless. But once he did, things started to happen, beginning with him serving as a pinch runner for Stan Musial. Maury immediately stole second and scored on Dick Groat's single. After singling in the 8th, Maury made it to third on Jim Davenport's single when a flustered outfielder threw behind Wills. Then Maury wrapped up a 3-1 National League win, scoring on a close play after Leon Wagner caught Felipe Alou's foul fly. A dazzling performance by Maury Wills, who may not have been the fastest man ever to run the bases, but certainly was the smartest and the best.
Now we're in the last of the 7th inning, and Reggie Smith hitting in the leadoff position. The National League orders up. This is his first time up in the game. John Grubb, who went in defensively, is going to bat 5th, Kessinger 8th, and McLaughlin 9th. Reggie enjoying an outstanding year with the Cardinals. Been up among the leaders all year. Change up. There goes the bat. Look out.
The ball hit right on the top of the National League dugout as it slipped out of the hands of Reggie Smith and wrapped around the shoulder of that lady sitting there with her hand in front of her face.
Want the bat, somebody said?
Usher right there to see if she needs medical assistance, but she's saying, I'm all right.
She's
nice
not
smile.
leave.
She's not going to leave this game.
Yes, sir. Well, it turned out well. It turned out well.
Reggie over at the dugout now looking over the top, waving to her, asking if she's all right, pointing to her.
They have a souvenir of the All-Star game. He let him keep the bat. And they give Reggie a hand, and also a hand that no one was injured behind the National League dugout. Smith is 3rd in the National League in batting with a .321 average. Jim Hunter working his 2nd inning. There's a long drive. Going, and gone. Jackson didn't even move in right field. He just looked up. That ball was really tagged by Reggie Smith, the first homer of the game.
And did he know this was a home run all the way, Joe and Kurt? It looked like Catfish may have taken a little bit off. Bell high. Oh, he knows it. He wants to just see how far.
In the bottom of the 7th, Reggie Smith leads off against Hunter.
Oh, get out of here! Get out of here, Reggie! Hey, Reg, that boy!
Reggie Smith's king-size home run pushes the National League lead up to 5-2. Let's take a look at the pitch that Smith put into orbit. Hunter comes in with a fastball just about letter high, and Smith really gets around on it. Reggie Smith knew it was gone. Reggie pauses to watch it, just as if he were part of the standing room only crowd.
All right, we have Dave Cash up. He receives a good hand. He used to play here with the Pirates. Now with the Phillies, this is his first appearance in the game. The National League's ahead now 5-2 in the last of the 7th. That was Reggie Smith's first All-Star homer and his first All-Star hit. There's Reggie, who just blasted that long home run to right field. Fly ball out to center fielder George Hendrick. One away in the last of the 7th inning. Cesar Cedeno is the next batter. Sellout crowd of over 50,000 tonight. It rained most of the day here in Pittsburgh. And this game is being televised in Pittsburgh.
Cedeno, you might notice in his batting stance as we look in from our center field camera, holds his hands extremely high and wiggles that bat around the top of his head at times. But does he have a cut?
3-2 count to Cedeno. In the 8th inning, Yastrzemski, Hendrick, and Rudy are due up for the American League. Struck him out. 2 down. Had him reaching for the high pitch. Johnny Bench has gone all the way tonight for the National League. He has struck out, singled, and walked. He scored a run.
It's kind of interesting, too, Kurt, because he's got 3 catchers, and looked like he wanted 3 catches because he wanted to use all his catchers.
That's a base hit in the left field by Bench. His second hit, his 3rd time in a row he's been on base. And here's a young fella, Barra, out in front right now by 3. A sophomore in the National League, John Grubb, with a .300 batting average. Last year he hit .311 as a rookie. Players talk about him. He has that natural swing. He's just a natural-born hitter. Padres keep signing players like this. They'll be up in there another 2 or 3 years. 1 ball, no strikes. Speaking of up in there, it's amazing, Joe and Tony, how the races are almost identical at this stage last year at the All-Star game. Grubb pops it up. Campaneris waiting. And the side's retired. 1 run for the National League, 2 hits. They left 1. We've gone 7 innings, and it's 5-2 National League. Carl Yastrzemski will lead off. For years, the top defensive left fielder in the major leagues, and he's now developed into a fine fielding first baseman. Let's take a look at that play again that he turned in earlier in this game.
That was Mike Schmidt on first base. Yaz was holding him on, and he stole a base hit, a possible double. Schmidt might have scored on the ball hit down that line.
The amazing Mike Marshall, who gets his feelings hurt if he can't pitch every day. The Dodgers have played 97 games this year, and Marshall's pitched in 66 of them. He's won 11, lost 4. An earned run average of 2.31, and he saved 13. We have Dave Cash at second base, replacing Joe Morgan. And Yogi's about emptying the bench, and getting everybody in.
The thing that was interesting to me, Tony, is watching Bench give the signals. The 3 was the signal for the screwball, and he just kind of hung. The first one, it was outside, and they came back with 3, and he really snapped one off. He not only changed the speed and the break, but he delivery.
He nearly had him struck out. That was the screwball again, one of the 3. And you can see Yastrzemski was completely baffled by that. All he could do was hold up when he swings.
That's the one that looks like a curveball, but it's a screwball. I don't know how he gets his arm into that kind of position to throw it to break into a left-handed hitter.
2-2 count to Yastrzemski. Beats it foul. Marshall, at this pace that he's going this year, will pitch in 110 games when it's all over. He holds the Major League record now for most appearances in one season, set with Montreal last year of 92. Can you imagine a man working in over 100 games in a season? 3-2 to Yastrzemski.
You don't think he signed one of those old contracts like the workers used to do, where he worked by piecework?
Here's that screwball. Let's look at it again in slow motion. This is a little bit up in the strike zone. He changes speeds on it so well. That's the thing.
Yastrzemski is on to lead off the 8th inning. NBC is going to present preseason football Saturday, August 17th. Cincinnati Bengals at Atlanta. Saturday, August 24th. The defending Super Bowl champs Miami against the Rams at Los Angeles. And Thursday, September 5th, Pittsburgh at Dallas. Preseason pro football on NBC. #1 in live coverage of major sports events all year round. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 3-2 to George Hendrick. Remember, the American League's trailing by 3. Now a little uneasiness abounds around the ballpark. They're wondering if Marshall's going to walk another man.
Should be. If he walks him, you've got that tying run at home plate in the person of Joe Rudy.
Well, I wonder who's going to win the most valuable player award here in this All-Star game tonight.
That's right.
3-2 delivery. He reached for a bad pitch, taps it to the box, to throw to second. In time there. Kessinger covered. That was ball 4 to Hendrick. It appeared from up here.
On this AstroTurf for artificial surface, the ball almost bounces over the head of Marshall. He just gets it to the top of his webbing after he misjudged it slightly. He started going back. Now he leads his shortstop. Kessinger, as Cash, backs up the play, and that's something that can get confusing when you don't play together too often, and these two have never played together.
But it was a good throw by Marshall. He led Kessinger perfectly into that bag. Joe Rudy's been up once, and he flied out to deep right. 1 out for the American League. The outs, the innings are running out for them. They're trailing 5-2 in the top of the 8th.
This Rudy is really the last of the tiptoe hitters. Watch his front foot.
A strike to Rudy. He really spreads out, doesn't he?
He gets right up on that toe for some reason. I guess he feels like he can spring off better, but it's kind of interesting. Makes no difference how you stand. It's what you do. Whoever thought Musial could hit with his stance?
Peeking around the corner.
Right. Let's get up there in a minute. Get up there, Joe. That's it.
Foul ball down the third base line. Big John Mayberry's on deck to pinch hit for the American League. And he'll bat for Brooks Robinson. And it looks like Steve Carlton out in the National League bullpen getting warmed up. Struck him out on a fastball. 2 down for the American League. Gives you this, gives you that, comes in, back again.
Interesting enough, though, that when he gets in a jam, he goes to his fastball. He gives you all that kinesiology business about the muscles and the screwball and the curveball, but when he gets in trouble, he jumps right on that express.
John Mayberry, batting .260 for Kansas City, 19 homers, 53 runs batted in. Been hampered in recent weeks by a severe hamstring pull. And if he gets that wood on, he could hit one in the upper deck here, any upper deck, anywhere. They're deep and toward right for him, and Reggie Smith is in the right field corner. Ball 1.
Brings to mind that great Paul Richards line. Hit a home run in any park in America, including Yellowstone.
Yeah, Jack Anderson, the superintendent of Yellowstone Park, always liked that one. 1 ball, no strikes. He was trying. 1-1. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. He hits it down to first baseman Garvey. Easy play, and the American League has 3 outs left in this game. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. Last of the 8th coming up, 5-2 National League.
Well, there's my man Yogi Berra, and I just had to ask him about his feelings of being a manager in the All-Star game. Did he ever think it was possible?
Yogi, did you ever think when we were kids you'd be here managing an All-Star team?
No, Joe, I never dreamed I'd be a manager in an All-Star game, and I never dreamed there'd be a broadcaster.
When you're managing this club, do you think about any of the teams we had as kids?
Oh, I sure do. We always had the biggest guys, you know, Joe, we picked, and Poochie, you know, he was our biggest guy, played first base, and the fattest guy was you. You were catching.
Oh, nice going, Yogi, nice going. It's a big thrill, and good luck to you.
Well, thank you very much, Joe.
2 boyhood buddies who grew up together, played baseball as youngsters on the hill in St. Louis. There's one of them, Yogi Berra, and the other one sitting here to my left, Joe Garrett Joe.
Kurt, was it like that in your neighborhood? I know it was in Tony's, that the fattest kid was always the catcher?
Yeah, it was mine.
Well, when it warmed up in July and we got him out there, that's right. Nobody wanted to catch.
Always the fat kid. I was always the catcher.
Raleigh Fingers is now on for the American League. At third base is Dave Chalk. He's the first rookie in this game tonight for the California Angels. He'll be hitting 9th, and Fingers will be batting 7th in the American League lineup. Steve Garvey has gone all the way. He has singled, doubled, and struck out. He's knocked in a run, and he scored a run. Mike Schmidt on deck. Fingers, one of the better relief pitchers in baseball. Here's the drive, hit deep into the left field corner. Rudy racing hard. Oh. Hey, what a grab by Joe Rudy, sliding into foul territory. He's made catches like that in the World Series the last 2 years, but nobody ever talks much about him.
We'll look at it again, and we've talked before about how much pride means to these All-Stars, and he goes diving on the warning track almost into the bullpen fence.
Tony, he saw that fence, and as he sees the fence, he goes into that slide, and there he is down in complete control, never taking his eye off that ball, and then braces himself as he hits it. Here's another good shot of it. And as you say, Kurt, he's made them everywhere.
Raleigh Fingers faces Steve Garvey in the 8th. Joe Rudy makes a spectacular catch, diving across the foul line to retire Garvey. That's worth another look, as Joe Rudy has a long run and a fence to contend with in his effort to make the play. A beautiful catch by Joe Rudy.
I'll never forget the World Series of '72, climbing the wall in the opening game in Cincinnati to save it. There's a long drive to deep left, that ball going, and it is caught by Rudy! Joe Rudy rubs him of extra bases against the wall, and they nearly double up Perez at first. What a grab by Joe Rudy! The catches he made in both World Series. He just makes the big play and continually gets the big hit for you. Never says a word. There's a low at the beginning of the season, goodbye at the end, and picks up his World Series check and goes home.
That's something.
2 balls and a strike to Mike Schmidt, who walked his first time. Ohio University. Schmidt played college ball. Last year he struggled, hit below 200. Got off to a good start. I couldn't get used to it. Got into a slump. Put me on the bench. Worried. In awe of everything. Now I'm used to it. Now I'm ready. 3-1 pitch. Foul ball back. If he gets a hold of one here tonight, you'll see something. He's hit some of the longest home runs in the major leagues this season.
Well, he has the longest single ever hit in that Astrodome where he hit the speakers up there, which is about in another county. I think it's a different time zone out there.
Yeah, they do move it back into Mountain Time. From Central. 3-2. 1 out, nobody on. Last of the 8th inning. Mike Schmidt walks. And Don Kessinger's up for the first time of the Cubs. Kessinger. Batting .267 for the Cubbies with 1 homer, 30 RBIs. He's played in 6 All-Star games. They have only 1 left-handed pinch hitter left. Yastrzemski holding at first. There's a drive into right center by Kessinger. This will roll to the wall. Rounding third is Schmidt. He'll come in to score. Kessinger's going for 3, and the National League has a 4-run lead.
That's a curveball he laid in there. Looked like he threw good fastballs, got 2 strikes on him, and then gave him one of those nice room service curveballs where you pick up the phone and say, please give me a curveball about belt high, and Fingers did, and Kessinger hit it.
Fingers walks Mike Schmidt, and Don Kessinger is the batter.
Come on, let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Come on, Mike! Come on!
Kessinger triples up the right center alley, and Schmidt carries run number 6 home for the National League.
Stand up, Don! I'll just yell Kessinger right to you. I'll come and be walking with you, and I'll scream it to you. Okay.
Well, Dick, what are you thinking about? Dick Williams, the American League manager. Mike Marshall. Batting for himself. Ball goes back to the backstop, and in to score is Kessinger. And it's now 7-2, National League.
Joe, I got to wonder what that last pitch was, the way it took off. Munson, who has the good hands, a good defensive catcher, doesn't miss pitches like that too often, unless there may have been something on it that made it really sail.
And there's our microwave powered unit in the National League dugout. Kessinger's happy after a triple and scoring. Marshall loops it into right field. Jackson over. Great grab by Reggie Jackson. He's a complete player. Run, throw, hit, field.
Well, we've seen a diving play by Rudy, and now Reggie Jackson. We've seen a near collision around second base with Morgan. And who says the All-Star teams aren't out there hustling? They want to win. They're not holding back. They've got too much pride.
From the other angle.
Baseball's top relief men go head-to-head. Rollie Fingers pitching to Mike Marshall.
Hey, boy, Mike!
Reggie Jackson makes a terrific hustling catch, denying Mike Marshall extra bases. Let's watch it again as Reggie Jackson, a man with more All-Star votes in 1974 than any other player in history, does his thing.
2 balls, no strikes to Reggie Smith. There's a high fly ball to right field, but Jackson has plenty of room. 2 runs for the National League on 1 hit. There was a wild pitch, nobody left. We're going to the top of the 9th at 7-2 National League. Jerry Grody now has replaced Johnny Bench. Behind the plate, it's Marshall and Grody, the National League battery. Thurman Munson has caught the entire game for the American League. He's leading off in the 9th. And the first pitch by Mike Marshall's ball 1. Dave Chalk is on deck, and then Bobby Grich in the hole. They represent the last hope for the American League in the 9th. There's a ground ball to second baseman Cash. The pickup and throw, and there's 1 down. And the American League's down to their last 2 outs. Here's the only rookie in this game. Dave Chalk of the California Angels, out of the University of Texas. He's going to be a good one. Bobby Grich on deck. Fouled away. The American League has been very quiet since the 3rd inning. Just 1 hit. A leadoff single by George Hendry. Check that, 2 hits. Grich had a single in the 5th. They've had 3 singles and a double tonight off National League pitching. And Chalk strikes out. 1 out left now for the American League. And Bobby Grich is up. He is singled and grounded out. Nothing happens to change this picture. A special committee, instead of writers and broadcasters and waiting for a long discussion. Steve Garvey has been selected as the most valuable player in this game. The first baseman. He's gone all the way for the for the National League tonight. Here it is, right to Garvey, the most valuable player. He's got the ball. 3 up and 3 down. The National League has won its 11th game of the last 12. Their 3rd win in a row. The winning pitcher was Ken Brett. The losing pitcher was Louis Tion.
Where are we going? What camera, here? Yeah. All right, with me on the field, Baseball Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, the man who won the MVP trophy for this All-Star game of 1974, Steve Garvey. Mr. Commissioner, you have the honor.
This trophy is emblematic of the most valuable player in the 1974 All-Star game, the 45th All-Star game. It goes to Steve Garvey for outstanding offensive and defensive play in this game. You clearly earned it, and on behalf of professional baseball, I congratulate you. And by golly, the fans certainly were smart when they wrote you in and made you the first baseman on this team.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kuhn.
That is something, a write-in candidate. You weren't even expected to show up for the ball game. You were so sick for a while, Steve, and here you play the entire thing. You take a hit away from Yastrzemski in the 5th, save a couple runs, a possible rally, and that's quite a tribute to this man right here for playing that entire ball game, Commissioner.
I'd say so. I repeat, it makes the fans look like the most sagacious people around. That's what we think they are.
Steve, one final comment?
Yes, Tony, I just can't express in words itself the thanks to all the people across the country that got me here. And I think this is my way of repaying them, because this isn't my trophy tonight, it's theirs, I think.
Steve Garvey, my thanks. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, thank you. Your system with the cards and the punch-outs and the write-in has proved that it works. Thank you so much. Let's go back upstairs.
Again, the final score, the National League 7, the American League 2. In a moment, we'll continue to review the action of tonight's game. Well, the least effective pitcher tonight, although he was good, Andy Messersmith, the starter for the National League. Brett, Matlock, McLaughlin, and Marshall were brilliant. And the National League just had airtight fielding, Joe Garagiola.
I think that was the whole key to it. I thought we might see a little bit more base running. And the other thing that might point out, as far as the National League is concerned, Kurt, we saw some players who were in the thick of that pennant race really do things that they do and we take for granted. Morgan in his fielding, for example. I thought that was significant. The defensive plays especially.
There was one key play of the game, although it wasn't a close game. It might have been in the 5th inning, when Grit was on with a single and Cedeno robbed Campaneris of extra bases.
Just simply outran that ball. We saw some fine plays here, and I would like to harken back to Garvey of becoming the most valuable player. As Tony pointed out, he was sick, he was puffy, but what a story that is, that in spring training as a youngster, he would ride on the bus because his daddy drove the bus in Tampa, Florida, and he'd get around these ball players, and here he is, the best of the All-Stars.
And I think we should give the fans credit for taking the effort to write his name in a ballot. That's a little effort.
That's right. You go by computers, you make them up so early. In fact, Aparicio was even on the ballot this year, but you can't get the good baseball fan. He knows what he's doing, and he showed it by writing in the Garveys and the Schmidts.
Has to be discouraging now to the American League. They've now lost 11 of the last 12.
It is.
Let's go down to Tony Kubek now for his final wrap-up.
All right, Kurt and Joe, I think the thing we've got to do also is throw some bouquets in the direction of the American League. When you see a Reggie Jackson and a Joe Rudy late in the ball game, down 3 runs, diving on dirt tracks, on cinder tracks, coming up with diving catches, you got to believe what all these players believe in this ball game tonight. It's a matter of personal pride, win or lose. They're out there to do their best for their clubs and their leagues, and we saw it in the ball game tonight. Back upstairs.
You know, we're just about where we were at this stage last year, Joe. Wild scramble, American League East, National League East. Cincinnati now about the same spot as they were last year, with the Dodgers and the Oakland A's out in front in the Western Division of the American League.
Everything's getting tight. It's getting tough to breathe. As Pete Rose says, the big red machine's coming, and you talk to the Pirates, they're coming. Everybody's moving.
It's going to be an interesting last part of the season, and we hope you're going to be with us on NBC Saturday afternoons and Monday nights. On behalf of Joe Garagiola, Tony Kubek, Kurt Gowdy, thanking you for looking in. The 1974 All-Star Game has been brought to you by the Gillette Track 2 shaving system. It's the closest thing to a perfect shave. By Sears Tire and Auto Centers, for die-hard batteries, Steady Rider shock absorbers, and Sears steel-belted radial tires. And by Chrysler Plymouth, the compact car leaders, offering 8 great small car buys for $74. 2 o'clock Eastern Time, Saturday, will be in Wrigley Field, Chicago. The Cardinals against the Cubs, the backup game, Detroit at Cleveland. And next Monday night from Fenway Park, Boston, with special guest Hall of Famer Whitey Ford, the New York Yankees have been red hot lately against the division-leading Boston Red Sox. Backup game, San Francisco at Houston. It all starts 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and all right here on NBC.
Marshall, the Iron Man of the mound, sets out to wrap it up in the ninth as Thurman Munson grounds out to Dave Catt. Marshall faces Dave Chalk, the only rookie in the game, and Chalk goes down swinging. Bobby Gritch's check swing grounder is easy work for Steve Garvey, and the National League triumph 7-2. For the streaking National League Stars, it's their 3rd win in a row and 11 out of the last 12. For Steve Garvey, it's midsummer magic and a dream come true, as the fans' write-in starter is awarded the All-Star Game's Most Valuable Player trophy.